thank you all for coming out under these adverse conditions too. I'm glad that the snow did not happen today or yesterday. We had a couple days. Thank you, Scott and Adam and Toddy and Mark Sickles too, and Eileen and Alfonso for coming out and supporting me, and Tammy. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. This is it means a lot to me, and as you can tell. And the only people that are not here are my parents. And I know this is going to break their heart when they hear how great you guys were and everything. But they're down in Florida. We finally convinced them they needed to stay out of this area, the region, and thank God, because this has been one of the worst winters ever, right? I mean, and we call them every day. We tell them how bad the weather is. So today the weather's bad. So anyway, so they'll be back in April, but they've got their own. They said they can do some phone calling from down there. So I gave them some numbers to start calling. So if you get a phone call, be nice.
How about signatures on petitions?
Right, yeah, the Florida crowd. You know, a funny thing, there's a law they need to change down there. Apparently, my poor mom, she couldn't get her medicine, her prescription refilled in Florida. You have to get a Florida doctor. Can you believe that? I mean, of all the places, you think with all the... So I want to also
Can't fix that as a delegate.
That we'll have to call down there. I also want to thank everybody who's endorsed my campaign who isn't here, like Supervisor Highland and he's out of town, Supervisor McKay, and thank Alfonso as well for being one of the early supporters. I really do appreciate it, coming from Arlington as well. And Kate Corey, and who am I missing? Anybody else? And Patrick Hope too, who his birthday was yesterday. So also really important is to thank my campamping volunteers, and especially Mary Payton. I don't know where she is. Mary is the heart and soul of the campaign. She's in charge of volunteers, so please sign up with her. She's got sheets all over the place. She's really been behind me 100% from the very beginning, and I want to thank you very much, Mary. You've been a big help. Also, we've got some other campaign people here. Connor Marley over here, who's helping out, and who else am I forgetting? I've wrote it down so I can. Oh, Rosa Brizuela was here earlier today. She couldn't stick around, but she got this whole thing set up too. She helped set it all up. And Mary O'Hara, I don't know if she's here, but she helped. She's a great campaigner as well. And so everybody else who's been helping, the O'Haras, Neil and Colleen at the front desk, and most importantly, I got to thank my wife Tracy Nevertill and my daughter Chloe. I got to tell you, the funny thing was we're learning. When you're a I've done all these campaigns for I don't know how many years, right? I go way back. So I don't know how many of you remember Warren Sykens when he was supervisor. Remember Warren's campaign, and I didn't realize how hard this is hard work. I thought this was easier, but it's even harder now. One of the things that I was really surprised. We went through. We got the list of the people who were gonna send the first mailing to, and then we got the labels, and we're all excited. We're gonna put the labels on the envelopes. We're gonna put the letters in the envelopes. And lo and behold, the labels and the envelopes don't match. So I said to Chloe, we got to play like this kind of memory game. We're going to put it all out on a big table, and then we'll put it in alphabetical order, and we'll try to remember where the envelopes are. And it does add a little bit of extra time, I think. And then of course we had all the volunteers were supposed to show up, but the weather was so bad last Saturday. I mean, it's actually been, every day has been bad. Today's the first good day, so I can't complain. But we had awful weather. Nobody showed up to help out, and I don't blame anyone because it was it was ice, So we were doing it, and then luckily we had nothing else to do, right? We just hung out, and so thank you, Tracy. And I was looking at Scott's Facebook. He's got his daughters putting stickers on the signs. He got the Senate, he's putting the Senate signs over the old House delegate sign, and he's got like 4 kids working. I got one. She's working hard though. And she actually had her friends come over, so we actually were up to 4 at one point in time. Then I really want to thank my brother Brian in the back there. This is his house. Yeah. We're here. Tim Sargent's running for a supervisor. I wanted to
Tim.
recognize him. This is important, you know, this is Bucknell. This is an important precinct. I remember when I worked on Joe Gartland's Senate campaign. Remember, Joe Gartland only won that Senate race because of Bucknell and Sherwood precincts. If you took those two away, he lost. So these are some critical ones, right?
I love everybody in this precinct.
You're wrong your way. Also, my niece Victoria, Brian's daughter, Rita, his wife, Cameron, tall one in the back there, my nephew, his brother just came back from Afghanistan. He's in the Marines. He just had a baby. His wife just had a baby. So they are not up here. They're down in North Carolina. But yeah, it wasn't you. No, he's still single. And so anyway, thank you all for coming. I had a lot of things I wanted to say, but I know everybody's been standing up, so I worked for Jim Moran, and one of the things we always tried to do with Jim was give him a speech that we kind of kept it to 15 minutes, and that worked. But I want to thank Jim too. Jim's supporting me. I really appreciate that. But you all know, you've heard a little bit. I worked for Jim for 8 years, and the first 8 years I loved working for him. He really, he taught me a lot. And my dad and Jim are two of my biggest heroes. Billy Mills is also a person that you may not know. He's a really good friend of mine. Scott and Mark and Adam met Billy. He is a Lakota member of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation tribe, and he's the only American to win the 10,000 meters in the Olympics. And I've been working with him for about 25 years. And so between him, my dad, and Jim, those are like my three. That's a pantheon of heroes for me. They are the ones who really give me a lot of advice and a lot of help. And Jim taught me about really supporting the underdog, and I think that's really critical. It doesn't matter if there was, he would reach out to the underdog. I remember because I was so interested in working with Native Americans, I would always throw these Native American references into his speeches, about Wounded Knee and things. And one time he said, "Paul, how come you've got so much? How come there's so much? Do we have any constituents that are Native American?" They're like, "Well, not yet. Not yet. But so now, so I've been active. I've got a lot of people from different parts of my life here, and you heard actually Mark Sickles and I go back. We worked on Jim Moran's first race. And a funny story was, and Mark's heard this story many times, we both tell it because it's very funny. Back in those days, so we've got the signs out there now. And I should tell you, Chloe, it's a lot easier nowadays. So the signs are all stapled together when you get them, and they're on these little metal pulls. But in the old days, you had to have a staple gun, a mallet, Reg right there, and John Morton had put up more signs than all of us combined. I guarantee that's true. And so, and they put up all those huge islands.
I called in my visibility team.
That's right. There was a time when the visibility. Remember that time when FCDC sent you a memo on how to do visibility, and you and John and I took it to the Mount Vernon committee and just ripped it right out because they knew it. But anyway, so we went out. It was election night. We still had 100 signs, maybe 400. I mean, it was a lot of signs, and we had all these signs. It was raining and it was cold. And we go, and Mark says, "Well, let's just drive down Route 1. This is that first election. Remember when Jim Moran won? It went all the way down. It went past where your district is. It went down to Dale City. It was a long way. So we went way down Route 1. And we drove from the south up to the north. And about halfway through, we realized we had left one of the mallets behind. And it was like 4 in the morning now. It's almost the end of the night. It's raining. We're soaked. And so we turn around and we look for the mallet. And we can't find any of our signs. And we put up, and we were creative too. We did like these and all kinds of fun stuff. We found trees that were down, and and every single sign was gone. They had followed us, and they had followed us and taken every sign down. And that's when I realized that this is not, they don't play fair, so we're going to have to be tougher. But, so now, we didn't even find, and they stole the mallet. So anyway, I'm running for the 44th. There's 44 of you here, and that's it's an important number to me. I see my old friends from when I was a baby, C.B. Richardson and Loretta Richardson. Thank you for coming. They've known me for more than 44 years, so we'll just leave it at that. But 44 is the president's number. I think that's a special number. So I'm excited about this. And now I think that today is a good time to start the campaign. It's when I'm going to start this campaign in high gear now, Chloe. So that was all. That was just the easy part. And now we're going to get started. And we're going to need help. And you guys are going to be. I know a lot of you are going to be helping me out, and I appreciate that. And there's sign-up sheets. Mary's the one you need to talk to. So do you know the issues? There's lots of important issues, and there's expanding Medicaid. There's ethics reform, gun safety. This problem with profiling is a serious issue. Police profiling. We got to have more affordable housing. I used to be a housing commissioner in Mount Vernon, and I know what that's like. We've got to maintain what we have out there. We've got to grow the stock too. And I'd love to see more like affordable dwelling units. Those are important for people. Single people need places to live too. Or those, what do they call them? The single units. Yeah. And then of course environmental protection. We've got. They're trying to roll back the environment down there in Richmond. We got to keep fighting for that.
How do you feel about shopping carts?
Shopping carts. I want to tell you, I'm not going to do everything that Scott does. I got to draw the line on the shopping cart removal. But I got an idea for that. We'll talk. What about title loan lenders? We got to do something about that. They're more ubiquitous than 7-Elevens out there on Route 1. In fact, I'm surprised they haven't replaced the 7-Elevens. They could do multi-food and stuff and Slurpees in there. But really, seriously, it's a big problem. And I mean, I'm worried about, we're going to have this casino coming in next year. And those title lenders are right here, right across the river. People can come right over here and put hawk their car and try to win it back by losing at the casino. Let's face it, if you wanted the casino wouldn't be in business, would it? So that's an issue that we're going to have to do. So maybe we can have a law, I'm sure you guys have tried this, Alfonso, where you can have a law that you pass that says any title lender has to be 50 miles away from a casino. But we can have maybe 100 miles away, maybe 300 miles. But we tried that, it didn't work. So we're going to try, we're going to keep trying, but I think it's also an opportunity. The big thing about this year, and why I'm really excited, is that this is a big change for Mount Vernon. I mean, for all of you guys that don't live in Mount Vernon, for us, this is a sea change. And the last time this happened was when Toddy ran. And we're going to have a new senator right here. We're going to have a new supervisor. We're going to have a new school board member, and we're going to have a new delegate. So that hasn't happened. The only person that's remaining the same here, well, we've got Mark. He's got a couple Mount Vernon precincts, and we've got Adam, who's the other Mount Vernon senator. And so that's a big change, and what it means. And so I think I offer, as somebody who's lived in the community a long time, it's been active, it's been on the Northern Virginia Workforce Investment Board, who's worked, was the only Mount Vernon member of Moran's campaign and staff. I mean, for the first few years representing Mount Vernon, and of course all the immigrants that we helped. We were able to get every restaurant in Alexandria for like 5 years. They would try to feed me for free food in there. It was great. But Moran was fantastic. He would call me up on a Sunday morning and says, these kids are trying to get to Germany this afternoon and they don't have their passport. I'm like, Jim, why? And luckily, my dad, who used to be he was a Kennedy guy. He was Kennedy's campaign manager for the state of Washington. He worked at the State Department. When Kennedy was assassinated, he went from the White House to the State Department. He worked there for many, many years until Reagan got elected. Then he retired. He said, "That's it. I can't do it anymore." But he was in charge of. He did a lot of work with congressional relations and he had anybody that needed passports and stuff went to him. All the offices. So his old staff was still there, luckily, when I was on the Hill. So when I worked for Jim, I was able to call those. Susie, you remember that? Susie, remember we used to be able to call Louise Snell. Remember Louise Snell?
Oh gosh, that's bad.
She was unbelievable. She's retired now, but she got, we knew who to call, and that was the exciting thing. So anyway, I know you guys are tired, and I've only got 25 more pages to go. So anyway, I want to work with you guys. I'm looking forward to working with Scott and with everybody else and doing my best down there. So the big thing that Mary wants me to leave you with is she says you got to sell the deal. So what I want you to do now is help me out and help this campaign. Take a sign, put it in when the snow melts, and they're expensive, so don't let it go to waste. And then we've got, and take a bumper sticker. Jerry Connolly says bumper stickers are the best thing. He says you got to have bumper stickers. I talked to him about it, and he says, you got bumper stickers? I said, no. And he goes, well, you've got to have bumper stickers. So there's bumper stickers out there. You need a bumper sticker. Go and take a couple brochures, meet folks, some neighbors that you're kind of on the fence, and then sign the petition, because we got to get on the ballot. That's the important thing. And right, oh yeah, Scott reminds me. Scott, yes, please, any donations would be. Volunteer list. Mary reminds me. There's volunteers list. So look, you're not gonna, if you sign up for a sign, doesn't mean you're gonna get. You don't have to. If you say sign only, sign is all you'll get. We won't call you to do phone calling or canvassing. So Reggie, you don't need to do any more signs. We've got young. I know you're coming out of retirement to do that. Reggie's vision is visibility emeritus. So I appreciate that, Reg. So he does know where the signs need to go. And I also want to thank my wife. Yesterday was our 19th wedding anniversary. I also want to thank my 9th grade history teacher sitting over here, Ms. Harris. I don't know if you know this. So I went to UVA and I was a history and English double major, and that's a lot of that's thanks to you. You got me inspired, and I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. And it was just down the street here at the old Groveton, so it's kind of exciting. That's now called what is it called? Bryant. Yeah. See, I still know all the old schools. I was at the old Groveton. My daughter's at the old Fort Hunt High School. I went to Walt Whitman, which is junior high. I went to Stephen Foster, which is the new Walt Whitman. Anyway, so that's it. I want to, before we say one last thing, I have a cake for my brother who turned 50 today. Neil, where is Neil? Is he still here? I hope to God. He's out doing time. Let's surprise him with the cake. Brian, bring him in here, and we can all say happy birthday to him.